Hey guys, today on Bootleg Cycle, we are going to be installing a full Wilbers twin shock Nivomat system on this 2009 Harley Davidson FLHX Street Glide. And if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the bell on the end so you can get notifications when we drop our new videos. Alright, let's take a look in this Wilbers box and see what we got going on in here. Alright, first thing on top is the instruction packet. First book in here is the assembly instructions for the fork springs. We have a tool for adjusting the rear shocks. Looks like we have some more information. We got the information about Nivomat on the Harley Davidson twin shock setups. We have a model overview. And we also have the installation information for all the LDC twin shock kits. Teaches you how to set them up, tells you which shock goes where. Get the rest of this stuff out of here. So we have a brochure for some other suspension products. We have a couple stickers for the forks on the front. We have a book that explains how the Nivomat system works. Pretty interesting information. We also have the assembly instructions for the shocks and a warranty card. Let's get this stuff set aside and we'll see what else we got in this box here. Looks like the next thing we're going to pull out here is the front fork springs. Look like they got quite a heavier coil on them than the stock Harley springs. Quite a lot heavier spring. Let's see what this tag says. Just information. Okay, oil level, oil weight, and the tighter coil springs go to the top. Let's see what else we got. Fork oil. This is a liter of the Wilbers zero friction fork oil. It comes with two liters of fork oil here, 10 weight, which is the weight they spec for this particular bike. Let's open them up and see what we got inside. Okay. This kit comes with 2 full liters of this zero friction fork oil. Should be more than plenty to do this bike. We should have quite a bit left over, just in case we need it for our next service. All right, in this other box we have the shocks, which is where all the Nivomat system comes in. A little bit of information about that, all the instructions. Got packed in there pretty nice. Tape roll. This solid shock is where all the special LDC stuff comes in. It's a dual chamber shock that returns the bike to ride height as you're riding it. Makes for full height out of your shock. The second shock is a standard spring over shock. Still in the bag here. We'll get back to those in a minute. First thing we're going to do is put these forks together. Let's get this front end tore apart and see what we got. All right, now that we got these forks out, we're going to want to get them set up here in the vise so we can work on them. And this is a pretty straightforward kit. It's just a drop-in spring kit. So all we got to do is pull this top cap, pull the old springs out, drain the oil, and then we can put the new Wilbers stuff in. Remember, these caps are under spring pressure, so they're going to want to shoot off when you get the last thread out. So make sure you hold your hand over it so they don't go flying across the shop. Like that. Pull these old springs out. Let some of the oil drain out of them so they don't make a mess. I grab a rag and get some of this old oil off of here. Grab another rag and lay under these things since they're covered. And pull these Wilbur springs out and lay them up against this old spring. Kind of take a look and see what the differences are. Wilbers definitely has a heavier coil. And they're a little bit shorter, but with a heavier coil, that makes sense. Alright, now I gotta drain the oil out of this thing, so let me go get a drain pan. Need a drain pan. Okay, now we have our drain pan. We can get all the oil drained out of these forks. First thing we're going to do is pull this plug out right here. Pull this plug and get the oil start draining out. Let's stand this up so the oil will run down and drain out the bottom. Alright, now we just gotta give that a minute to all drain out. We can start putting our new stuff in. Alright, once all that's drained out, flip her over and double check, make sure we got everything out. Looking good. Alright, get her put back in the vise here so we can get our drain plug back in. Make sure your copper wash is on, get that nice and snug, and turn the fork back up. First thing we gotta do is put in our new fork oil. Let me grab that here. Good. Okay, we do not need a specific volume of this oil. We're going to be measuring the height with the fork collapsed. So I'm just going to go ahead and pour some in here. And then we got to work this oil down into the bottom of the fork. So we're just going to pump the fork up and down until we stop getting air bubbles. Wilbers has specific instructions for this in their instruction manual. They want you to go ahead and put your hand over the top of the fork when you're pulling it down to create suction, and then release it when you're pushing it back up. Just keep working on it until you get all the air bubbles out. Add a little bit more oil here. And keep going.
Yeah, I don't think so. Not check. Not check it. It wasn't.
And once the fork firms up and you're sure you have all the air out of it, we're going to push the fork all the way up and measure the height of the fork oil. Looks like I got all the air out there. Double check, make sure. That looks good. Alright, let me go grab my measuring tool. There it is. Basically a straw with a stop on it. You measure that out to 140 mils in this case. Push the fork all the way closed or all the way collapsed. And then we're just going to pull on the syringe to remove any excess oil above that height. And once the oil gets to the height of the straw, it'll just start pulling air and you'll know that you're at the right height. But you got to make sure your fork stays all the way collapsed. There we go. So that's up to the correct oil level. Go ahead and take this out. Turn this extra oil back. Pull the fork down. And now we can put our new springs in. And Wilbers has these marked at which side goes up, but you're always going to want the tighter coil going up. Now these caps are again under spring pressure, so we're going to have to put some pressure on these down to get the spring down so you can get them to start threading in. I like to put the cap on the top, just gives you something nice to push on. Alright, push these down in and get these threads started. And then tighten the cap up. And that's it for the first fork. Let's see what this looks like next to the other one. And pretty same height. The other fork looks a little bit taller just because it's got a cap on the bottom of it. But looking good. Now we just got to do it again to the next fork and then get them put back on the bike. Alright, now that these forks are done, we're going to get started on the rear. Pretty straightforward. We pull these old shocks and put the new Wilbers shocks on. Let's go. Everything checks out. Time to take her for a test ride. All right, the test ride went well. The customer's very happy. another successful install here at Bootleg Cycle. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time, guys.